They reach for their phone, their thumb poised over the keyboard. They start to type fast, aggressive strokes. The screen is filled with bitter, angry words. They are about to hit send. They stop. The space they have been building between impulse and action, the gap of awareness is being tested to its absolute limit. They feel the physical urge to hit send. It is like a muscle spasm. But they also feel a small, quiet voice from the prefrontal cortex. Is this who you want to be? Will this action make you feel better in an hour? In a day? In a year? Or is this just the lizard brain trying to survive a social sting? The traveler lowers the phone. They take a long, shaky breath. They delete the text word by word, character by character. The anger is still there, but it is no longer in control. They are choosing a different path, the path of restrained power. This is the moral victory of the emotional mind. It is not about forgiving and forgetting. That may come later, or not at all. It is the understanding that when we react blindly to a betrayal, we are handing our power over to the person who betrayed us. By choosing to stay on the high road, the traveler is maintaining their own sovereignty. They are saying, you can hurt my feelings, but you cannot dictate my character. But the betrayal was just the first wave. As the traveler sits in the dark, they realize that the modern world has one more cruel twist for them. They receive news, a crisis of a different kind. A loss that cannot be bargained with. A phone call, a few words, and the world they knew is gone. A major turning point. Everything they have learned, the neurochemistry, the social signals, the digital hygiene, suddenly feels utterly inadequate. They are facing a loss so profound that the high road itself seems to have collapsed. This is the moment when the hidden psychology of our reactions is stripped bare. There is no mask, no performance, no professionalism. There is only the raw, howling grief of a human being facing the unthinkable. We often speak of emotional mastery as if it were a shield that makes us invulnerable to pain. But true mastery is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to be with the pain without being destroyed by it. The traveler is now in the valley of the shadow. This is the deepest, most terrifying part of the human experience. It is the place where the lizard, the social animal, and the rational mind all fail. It is the place where we must find a new way to react. The traveler collapses. They are in a state of shock. The amygdala is overloaded. The prefrontal cortex is paralyzed. They are in a shutdown state, the ultimate defense of the nervous system when the threat is too large to fight or flee. Would you survive this? When the world you have built is shattered, when the people you love are gone, when the future you imagined is erased, how would you react? This is the crisis of the soul that every human life eventually faces. The hidden psychology is no longer about managing reactions. It is about surviving the collapse of the self. The traveler is at the 0 point of their journey. But as the grief pours out, something else begins to stir. Beneath the pain, beneath the shock, there is a deep resilience that has been forged in the mountain, the village, and the forest. It is a small, flickering light, almost invisible in the darkness of the crisis. It is the will to integrate. The traveler's journey has prepared them for this moment, even if they don't know it yet. They have the tools, but they must now learn how to use them in the dark.
The escalating conflicts of the modern world have led to this pivotal event. The traveler has moved from the micro-stressors of the day to the macro-crisis of a life. The cause-effect chain of their emotional history has brought them to this breaking point. They have made mistakes, they have been betrayed, and they have been shattered, but they are still here. The hidden psychology is about to reveal its most profound and final secrets, the secrets of transcendence through loss. The traveler slowly pulls themselves up. They are still crying, but the wail has become a steady stream. They look toward the window. The first hint of a new dawn is appearing on the horizon, a thin, pale line of gray. The story of our reactions is the story of our endurance. We are built to break, but we are also built to heal. The human drama of the traveler is the human drama of us all. We are all facing a world that is too much for our ancient brains, and we are all carrying shadows that never go away. As tensions boiled over in their life, as the digital trap closed in, and as the ghosts of the past returned to haunt them, the traveler was brought to this moment of total vulnerability. They have faced the silicon trap, the breakdown of empathy, and the scars of the past. They have survived the anatomy of a decision and the sting of betrayal. But now, they must face the lasting legacy of their own grief. Would you have made the same choice to stay aware in the face of such darkness? Or would you have let the reptilian brain take over, seeking numbness or destruction? Years earlier, few could have predicted that the simple quest for emotional mastery would lead to this altar of loss. But fate had one more cruel twist in store, a revelation that would change everything the traveler thought they knew about the hidden psychology behind human reactions. The moral gray areas are disappearing, replaced by the cold clarity of the truth. The what-if moments are over. The what now has begun. The traveler walks toward the door. They don't look back at the room. They reach for the handle. As they open the door, the sound of the city floods back in, but it no longer sounds like a threat. It sounds like a symphony of a million reacting souls, all struggling, all surviving, all being. The escalation of the modern world is not merely a backdrop. It is an active participant in the warping of our emotional fabric. To understand how we arrived at this breaking point, we must look closer at the neurological fatigue that defines contemporary existence. The prefrontal cortex, that miracle of evolution, is a resource-intensive organ. It runs on glucose and oxygen, and it tires easily. In the constant decision-making environment of the metropolis, choosing between hundreds of products, navigating complex social protocols, managing a never-ending stream of digital tasks, the prefrontal cortex enters a state of ego depletion. When this happens, our ability to regulate our emotions vanishes. We become more impulsive, more prone to anger, and more vulnerable to the seductive pull of immediate gratification. The traveler, walking through the neon-lit streets, is not just a soul in search of meaning. They are a biological system running on empty. This fatigue creates a vacuum that is quickly filled by the more primitive parts of the brain. When we are exhausted, the amygdala becomes the primary driver of our behavior. This is why we are most likely to argue with our partners at the end of a long workday, or why we find ourselves mindlessly eating or scrolling through screens late at night. The high road is closed for repairs, and the low road is the only path left open. The traveler realizes that true emotional mastery requires a radical commitment to cognitive rest. It is the understanding that we cannot be emotionally intelligent if we are neurologically bankrupt. They look at the city and see a civilization that has forgotten how to sleep, how to linger, and how to simply be. They see a world where the stress response has been commodified, where our very anxiety is a source of profit for those who sell us the cures. But there is an even more insidious force at work in the metropolis: the fragmentation of the self. In the ancestral village, a person's identity was stable and integrated. You were the same person to your family, your neighbors, and your gods. In the modern world, we are forced to maintain multiple, often conflicting versions of ourselves. We have the professional self, the social media self, the private self, and the secret self. This fragmentation requires a massive amount of emotional management. We are constantly switching masks, trying to remember which version of the story we told to which audience. This creates a state of internal tension that the ancient brain perceives as a threat to our integrity. The amygdala senses the lie of the performance and triggers a sense of unease, a feeling that we are always on the verge of being exposed. This is the hidden psychology of the imposter syndrome, a phantom that haunts even the most successful individuals in the modern arena. The traveler sits in a crowded cafe, surrounded by people who are all performing their own versions of the modern self. They see the strain in the tight smiles and the rapid-fire speech. They realize that the quest for mastery has shifted. It is no longer just about regulating a reaction. It is about reclaiming an authentic identity. It is about finding the one who lives behind all the masks. This is a task of immense psychological complexity. It requires us to look at the parts of ourselves we have hidden away, the shameful parts, the weak parts, the unprofessional parts, and bring them back into the light. It is the work of Carl Jung's individuation, the process of becoming the whole person we were meant to be. The traveler feels the weight of their own masks, the exhaustion of the performance. They wonder if it is even possible to be truly known in a world that only values the filtered image. Amidst this fragmentation, the shadow of trauma remains the most powerful architect of our internal world. We must return to the concept of the emotional flashback. Unlike a visual flashback, where one sees a past event as if it were happening now, an emotional flashback is a sudden tidal wave of feeling that seems to come from nowhere. You are sitting at your desk, and suddenly you are overwhelmed by a sense of profound helplessness or an intense, burning shame. There is no clear trigger, no obvious danger, but your nervous system has been activated by a ghost. This is the body keeping the score, as the famous phrase goes. The traveler recognizes these moments in themselves, the times when their reaction is completely disproportionate to the situation. They realize that they are not reacting to the present. They are reacting to a moment 20 years ago that never found its way to a resolution. To heal these wounds, we must move beyond the talking cure. The ancient brain and the nervous system do not speak the language of words. They speak the language of sensation and rhythm. This is why practices like yoga, breathwork, and somatic experiencing are so effective in treating trauma. They communicate directly with the limbic system and the brainstem, telling the body that it is safe, that the war is over. The traveler begins to experiment with these bottom-up approaches to mastery. They learn to listen to the voice of their body, the tightness in the throat, the weight in the stomach, the coldness in the hands. They learn that these are not just symptoms to be suppressed, but messages to be heard. They are the intelligence of the organism trying to find its way back to balance. However, as the traveler seeks this balance, the world around them is becoming increasingly tribal. We see this in the way we consume information. Our brains are naturally attracted to outrage, because outrage triggers the amygdala and provides a sense of moral superiority dopamine hit for the ego. The digital algorithms know this. They feed us a steady diet of content that confirms our biases and vilifies our opponents. This creates a feedback loop of hostility. We are no longer learning about the world. We are being programmed to fear and hate those who are different from us. The traveler sees the dehumanization that occurs in the comments sections and the news feeds. They see how easily the high road of reason is abandoned in favor of the low road of tribal defense. They realize that the breakdown of empathy is not a political problem. It is a neurological one. Would you have the courage to break out of your own echo chamber? Could you stay on the high road when everyone around you is screaming for blood? This is the great moral challenge of our time. It requires us to consciously override our tribal instincts, to see the human behind the enemy. It is a task that goes against millions of years of evolutionary programming. But it is the only way to prevent the collective emotional system from collapsing into chaos. The traveler makes a conscious decision to seek out perspectives that challenge them, to humanize those they have been taught to fear. They realize that empathy is not a feeling that happens to us. It is a choice that we make. It is a muscle that must be exercised, even when it is painful to do so. This brings us back to the high-pressure world of the professional arena. We see the traveler once more in the boardroom, facing the scrutiny of their peers. The decision they made earlier has had consequences. There are those who are unhappy with the direction, those who feel their own status is threatened. The traveler is being attacked not with swords, but with words, with silences, with the subtle politics of the workplace. They feel the social sting once more. But this time, they are prepared. They understand the chemistry of the conflict. They see the anger in their colleagues not as a personal judgment, but as a manifestation of their own fears and insecurities. This perspective allows the traveler to remain untriggerable. They respond with a clarity and a calmness that diffuses the situation. They are no longer a player in the game. They are the ground upon which the game is played. But even this level of mastery cannot protect them from the ultimate betrayal. We see the traveler standing in the rain, having just learned of the friend's treachery. The social pain is so intense, it feels like a physical blow. They remember the times they shared, the secrets they told, the trust they built. All of it now feels like a lie. The low road offers a tempting solution. Destroy them. Make them feel the pain you are feeling. It is a siren song of the ancient brain. The traveler feels the dark energy rising within them. It would be so easy to let go, to let the rage take over. But they remember the forest. They remember the integration of the shadow. They realize that if they strike back, they are only feeding the very darkness they seek to transcend. They choose sovereignty. They choose to hold the pain without passing it on. This is the path of the wounded healer. It is the understanding that our greatest wounds can become our greatest strengths, if we have the courage to integrate them. The traveler walks through the city, the rain washing away the masks of the day. They feel a sense of profound aloneness, but it is not a lonely aloneness. It is the aloneness of the one who has found their own center. They realize that their mastery is not about winning the world, but about not losing themselves to it. They are ready for whatever comes next, even as the horizon begins to darken with the news of the coming crisis. The news of the loss arrives like a thunderclap in a clear sky. It is the 0 point. Everything stops. The traveler's world, so carefully constructed through years of effort and mastery, is shattered in a single moment. This is the dark night of the soul. The grief is so large it cannot be contained by the window of tolerance. The traveler is pushed into a state of dissociation, a feeling that they are watching their own life from a great distance. This is the brain's way of protecting itself from a pain that is too intense to process. But the numbness is not peace. It is a waiting room. Beneath the surface, the emotional systems are in a state of total collapse. Would you be able to find meaning in this? When the why is unanswerable, when the how is impossible, how do you continue? The traveler sits in the ruins of their own life. They look at the why. They wrote in their journal. They realize that there is no reason for this loss. No lesson that makes it okay. There is only the fact of it. This is the confrontation with the absurd. It is the moment when the hidden psychology reaches its limit. We are no longer in the realm of mechanisms and reactions. We are in the realm of existence. The traveler's only task now is to survive the night. They do not try to master their grief. They simply let it be. They sit in the darkness, waiting for the first hint of the new dawn. As the sun begins to rise, the traveler feels a subtle shift. The wail of the ancient brain has subsided into a quiet, steady ache. The shutdown is slowly lifting. They look at their hands, their room, the city outside. Everything is the same, yet everything has been irrevocably changed. They realize that they have been initiated into a deeper level of human experience. The loss has stripped away the last of their illusions. They no longer care about status, performance, or digital validation. They only care about the truth of the heart. This is the lasting legacy of the crisis. It has forced the traveler to become real. The traveler stands up. They are weak, but their step is firm. They pick up the journal and write. The heart that breaks open can hold the whole world. This is the revelation of part 2. The quest for mastery was not about avoiding the break. It was about preparing for it. It was about building a hearth that could hold even the largest fires. The traveler opens the door and steps out into the morning. The sound of the city floods back in the sirens, the tires, the voices. But this time, they hear the music of it. They hear the cry of a billion souls, each reacting, each struggling, each becoming. They are no longer a stranger to the world. They are its kin. As we conclude this second chapter of our exploration, we see that the hidden psychology behind human reactions is not a static set of rules, but a dynamic, unfolding drama. We have seen the traveler face the escalating conflicts of the modern world, the chronic stress, the digital traps, the shadows of the past, and the tribal storms. We have watched them navigate the moral gray areas of status, power, and betrayal. And we have seen them stand at the breaking point of profound loss. The cause-effect chain of their journey has led them to a place of total vulnerability, but also of unprecedented clarity. The traveler is no longer just managing their emotions. They are living them with a new kind of depth and purpose. The human drama we have witnessed is the story of the modern soul attempting to reconcile its ancient heritage with its digital future. It is a story of mistakes, decisions, and betrayals, but it is also a story of resilience, integration, and growth. Would you have the strength to follow this path? Would you be willing to face the biggest crisis of your own life with the same level of awareness and courage? These are the questions that the traveler's journey poses to us all. The hidden psychology is not something to be studied from a distance. It is something to be lived from the inside out. The dawn that is breaking over the city is a symbol of the new consciousness that is emerging from the ruins of the traveler's old life. It is a consciousness that is integrated, sovereign, and empathetic. It is the lasting legacy of the struggle for emotional mastery. But the fallout of the crisis is still to be felt. The final revelations of the human heart are still to be revealed. The journey is nearing its conclusion, but the most profound discoveries are still to come. The traveler is ready to face the future, not as a master of the world, but as a master of the self. As tensions boiled over, as the shadows lengthened, and as the what-if moments became the what now, the traveler discovered that the hidden psychology was never about the reactions themselves. It was about the one who reacts. It was about the soul that remains even when the brain is under siege. The final revelations, fallout, and lasting legacy await, and we left our traveler at the 0 point, a state of profound shock where the world, once mapped by logic and hard-won resilience, had suddenly dissolved into the formless void of grief. We witnessed the ultimate escalation of the modern emotional conflict, the slow erosion of chronic stress, the digital hijacking of our dopamine pathways, and the sharp, jagged blade of personal betrayal. The traveler sat in a dark apartment as a new dawn broke, a journal in hand, facing a loss that could not be rationalized away. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of our high road, had effectively paralyzed under the sheer weight of a low-road takeover so absolute it threatened to shatter the self entirely. We explored the terrifying reality of the emotional flashback. The ghost in the machine that pulls the past into the present hand, the short fuse created by neurological fatigue. The brain, in its infinite wisdom and desperation, begins to perform a radical act of meaning-making. This is the climax of the internal war. It stops trying to fix the feeling. It stops trying to solve the grief. Instead, it begins to witness it. This is the synthesis of the heart-mind. In this blow-by-blow internal struggle, the traveler experiences a moment of utter stillness. The traveler writes a single sentence in their journal, and as they do, the dissonant drone of their mental exhaustion begins to resolve into a beautiful, if somber, chord. I am the space in which this happens. The immediate fallout of this breakthrough is not a sudden happiness. Happiness would be a reaction. And the traveler is moving beyond reaction. The fallout is clarity. The short-term consequences are a radical reordering of priorities. The traveler looks at their phone, the silicon trap hand feels nothing. The digital pull is gone. The traveler is experiencing a state where the self-identity is no longer tied to external events. They stand up and walk to the window. They pull back the curtain, and the full morning sun floods the room, washing over the tattered journal and the cold hearth. They do not flinch. They just stand in the light. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and heavy with purpose. This isn't just one person's story. It is a blueprint for how our species might survive its own complexity. We are witnessing the birth of the responsive society. Historically, civilizations have risen and fallen on their reactions, the rage of conquest, the fear of the other, the greed for resources. But what if we are entering an era where the hidden psychology of our reactions is no longer hidden? The ripple effects extend into science. We are seeing a revolution in effective neuroscience. We now know that vagal tone, the health of the vagus nerve, is perhaps the single most important predictor of human resilience. The traveler's journey has been, in a biological sense, an exercise in vagal regulation. Can any brain, no matter how wounded, find its way back to this state of responsive sovereignty? Deep reflection leads us to counter-arguments. Some psychologists argue that this level of mastery is a form of emotional bypass, that by observing our feelings so intensely, we are actually distancing ourselves from the raw meat of the human experience. They ask, if we don't feel the burn of anger, will we still have the drive to fight injustice? If we don't feel the shatter of grief, will we still value love? These are poignant questions. But the human aftermath stories suggest otherwise. Those who reach this state of integration don't become unfeeling. They become deeply feeling without being destroyed. They are the wounded healers of the 21st century. Imagine a world where the primary education of a child is not just in facts and figures, but in the mapping of their own internal architecture. A world where the startle response is met not with a counterstrike, but with a breath. The traveler is now back at the mountain pass where our story began. The mist is there. The metallic crack of the rock is there. The traveler's body still reacts. The heart rate still climbs, but the traveler is smiling. The hidden psychology of our reactions is no longer a dark, threatening forest. It is a garden that requires tending. We circle back to our original thesis with a new insight. We are not built to be happy. We are built to survive. The final emotional beat is one of profound connection. The traveler looks at the vast, rugged beauty of the landscape and realizes they are not separate from it. Their heartbeat is the rhythm of the world. The journey into the hidden psychology of our reactions has been a journey into the heart of what it means to be human. We have seen the lizard, the social animal, and the shadow. We have survived the silicon trap and the altar of loss. We have learned that our reactions are our history, but our responses are our future. The traveler's story is your story. You have a choice. You can be the reaction, or you can be the response. The final revelation is that you are the architect of your own internal world. This script, this journey, is just a map. You are the one who must walk the path. Consider the ripple effects of this mastery in our daily interactions. When you meet a stranger's aggression with a calm presence, you are not just managing your own internal state. You are providing a regulatory anchor for theirs. You are influencing the collective vagal tone of your environment. We are learning that our nervous systems are not closed loops, but are deeply interconnected. The deep human drama we have followed is ending, but the fallout will continue in the choices made by every viewer who has traveled with us. The poignancy of the human aftermath is found in the quiet strength of those who have lost everything and yet refuse to be broken. This is the ultimate victory. The hidden psychology is hidden no more. The final revelations, fallout, and lasting legacy awaits in your own life. We encourage you to engage with this community of travelers. Reflect on your own what now moments. Share the parts of this hidden psychology that resonated most with you. We have provided the map and the resources to help you continue your own archaeological dig into your emotions. If this deep dive has provided value to your journey, consider joining us for future explorations into the hidden architectures of our lives. The peace is not in the absence of the storm, but in the center of it. The traveler's journey into the hidden psychology of human reactions concludes not with an answer, but with a question. What is your next response? The fallout of the traveler's crisis was not an end, but a beginning. The lasting legacy is a life lived with open eyes and a steady heart. The world will continue to be loud, fast, and complex. The digital jungle will continue to evolve its hacks. The tribal storms will continue to rage. But you have the map. You have the tools. You have the high road. The story of our evolution is a story of moving from the darkness of instinct into the light of awareness. It is a slow, difficult, and beautiful process. The hidden psychology behind our reactions is the thread that connects our primitive past to our potential future. As we fade into silence, remember that the brain is a living, changing forest. Every breath you take with awareness, every time you choose curiosity over defensiveness, you are planting a new tree in that forest. You are carving a new path. The ancient logic of the amygdala will always be there, but it does not have to be the only voice. You are the charioteer. You are the space in which the universe experiences itself. The mastery of emotion is the mastery of life itself. The journey is long, the terrain is rugged, but the view from the high road is worth every step. Thank you for walking this path with us through the mountain, the village, and the forest. The final revelations, fallout, and lasting legacy are now yours to carry forward into the world. The narrative of human emotion is the narrative of the soul's attempt to navigate a physical world. It is a story of incredible complexity and simple truths. We react because we want to stay alive. We respond because we want to be free. This tension is the engine of our growth. By pulling back the curtain on the hidden psychology of these reactions, we have not simplified the human experience. We have honored its depth. The traveler is home, but they are also everywhere. They are themselves, and they are the world. The script of your life is still being written. Every reaction is an opportunity for a new response. Every loss is a potential for a new integration. The light of understanding is fixed now, a steady star in the firmament of your mind. Go forth with the courage of the observer and the compassion of the integrated self. The hidden psychology has become the visible light of your life. In the quiet aftermath of this exploration, we find the lingering mysteries that define our humanity. We do not yet fully understand the bridge between a firing neuron and a felt emotion, nor can we perfectly predict the resilience of a shattered heart. These unanswered questions are the frontiers of our future science and our enduring philosophy. They keep us humble, they keep us searching. The lessons for today are clear. Slow down, breathe, and look within. The human stories of those who have mastered their reactions are beacons of hope in a turbulent world. They remind us that while we cannot control the weather of our lives, we can control the vessel in which we sail. The moral gray areas of our social world require the clarity of a regulated mind. The what-if moments of our personal history require the acceptance of a courageous heart. The final revelation is that there is no final revelation, only the ongoing, beautiful work of being human. The hidden psychology behind human reactions is a mirror in which we see both the animal we were and the being we are becoming. As the traveler continues their walk through the city, the sound of the world is a symphony. They are no longer a stranger to the noise. They are its kin. The journey of the heart and the mind has reached its equilibrium. The story continues in your next thought, your next pulse, your next choice. The hidden architecture is now a known landscape. May you navigate it with grace.